you done now?
We're back with more credits. Did you want to know who the crab dolly operator was?
No, but the grip was John Yant.
Yep. Albert Whitlock. Oh, the Matt consultant. Yes. So there's Bill Taylor and Sid Dutton, the Matt artist, as seen and interviewed in Who Got It, the Clue documentary.
What does MPSC mean? Motion Picture Script Enforcement?
Super energetic. This is kind of like the opening credits of The Great Muppet Caper. They do something very similar.
What's your PSC stand for?
Oh, Andy Flores did amazing as the laborer.
Extra casting was from Central Casting. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Clue Movie Podcast. We break down the 1985 cult classic movie Clue 1 minute at a time. My name is the Boat Brad Gilmore. I'm joined as always by the General Jeff Smith, and we just had another exhilarating minute of Clue Movie Podcast as we are now in our penultimate episode.
Which we learned means almost last.
Almost last. You know?
Yeah.
If you finish in second place, are you the penultimate winner?
It sounds better than losing.
Because it sounds ultimate, like I'm ultimate at something.
I'm the penultimate warrior. That's the person that finished the Royal Rumble, the last one to be thrown out.
Right. They were the penultimate warrior.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm using that on commentary. I'm going to use that on commentary for the next Rumble we have.
I finally made my mark in the professional
No, that's good
wrestling
stuff.
world.
That's good
Thank
stuff.
you.
There he is, the penultimate warrior, and he's gone. Jeff Smith has won the Rumble. You know?
Oh, see, that's excellent.
It's excellent.
Who got credit for giving, Conan O'Brien. Didn't he get credit for giving some kind of...
For The Rock, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Rock's commentary. I forget what he said, but it was
A line
something
from The
that Conan
Rock.
O'Brien said.
Yeah, you stupid idiot
that's
or
me.
something like that.
I'm Conan O'Brien of the Clue Movie Podcast.
You are. Well, look, we're going to continue our Rewatchables award ceremony. Just real quick, Jeff, give me your 30-second to a minute reaction of Back to the Future, the musical.
Oh, yeah. So I got to see Back to the Future, the musical, a couple weeks ago in New York. I thought it was fantastic. I am not a musical theater guy at all. I do not care for the theater. I do not care for people breaking into song. I do not care for that style of acting that's super big over the top, which is weird because Clue is very much like that. Mm-hmm. But I'm not a fan of playing to the back of the audience. And that being said, I thought it was excellent. I enjoyed 99% of the songs. I've been listening to the soundtrack since. I thought the actors were great, and I liked the little changes that happened because they had to do some adjustments for the stage and also for 2024. So Doc's version of why he's injured is different this time. They did not have anybody chasing around them in a parking lot on the stage at the Witchwood Pines Mall.
Right.
But I actually thought the ending, not to give it away because everyone should go see it, because it is now, traveling.
Touring,
and it could be in your town soon. Touring, thank you. I thought this ending actually made more sense than the movie. And they paid off something about Marty in this ending that they kind of forget about.
Yes.
In the movie. And I thought, which I never even thought about, having been a fan of Back to the Future for my life. When this happens in the musical, I went, yeah, that should happen.
I can't believe I'm going to say it. I kind of agree with you. I think the ending of the musical might be a little bit better than the ending of the movie.
I think it made me happy. And then from a technical standpoint.
Oh my gosh.
So you asked me watching it to send you emojis.
Yes.
As the one went on. And I think the first emoji I sent you as I was sitting waiting for it to start was a bolt of lightning, because it's, Back to the Future. But also because in the theater there's a lot of lights and circuits and blue
sounds
and everything. Very cool, very technological. And then for the intermission, I don't remember what I sent you.
I'll pull it up here.
But it
Intermission.
was,
Jeff sent me a stars in your eyes emoji.
oh, okay. So I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I know. I'm not great at being that clever with emojis, but there wasn't a way to send a lack of a skateboard because the intermission happens, a scene that kind of replaces the invention of the skateboard scene, but also done very well. I think they were very smart in the things that they consolidated into locations. Um, and then the ending, I had to send you a GIF, and that was Joey from Friends just with his jaw hitting the floor, because the last thing that happens in the musical, I literally had to have someone push my jaw up, and we could talk about it afterwards because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, because I didn't know. I knew nothing going in.
Yeah.
I had not heard one of the songs. I didn't know how they were going to do anything, and I was not expecting what happened at the end. And when it did, I went, well, I have to see this again now.
It's pretty incredible.
So,
it's an incredible show from a production standpoint, if nothing else.
It's great.
But we'll talk more about that.
No, it's more than 30 seconds. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. We'll talk more about that at a later date. So we're going to go into our minute 96 of Clue the Movie, the penultimate episode. We're going to go through our categories. I want to remind you, October the 7th.
Where does this come from?
Say what?
Where does this? Well, go ahead. But then I'm trying to remember where this list that we're about.
This
to go
list
through.
comes from the Rewatchables podcast that's hosted by Bill Simmons. These are the awards they go through for every movie they rewatch.
They watch a movie and then they
give the awards. But
so we've stolen this from them. Okay.
I stole it 100% from them. But we want to remind you, October the 7th, we're going to do a live Clue the Movie podcast for our finale on all the socials. So just follow Jeff and I, and we'll make sure that we tell you about it as that day and time gets closer. We're shooting for 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific time. If you're anywhere else, figure it out. We're going to go through our categories here. Our final categories are that we're going to award to Clue the Movie. And if you didn't hear the first episode of this, go back last week and listen to those so you kind of get a feel of what we're doing here. But here we go.
What a weird time for an audience member to be skipping to the end.
It'd be very strange.
Like, we're almost there. They're like, I can't handle 95.
Yeah, I got to go straight to 96. But it could happen. Maybe you're listening in like reverse order, or maybe you didn't miss last week and then you see this week and you're like, oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? So I'm just trying to help them out. But this is the award. So we're going to start here. This is a great one because this is kind of hard. So we're going to have to pick a room. But this is the Den of Thieves Benihana Award for the scene-stealing location. What was the best location, I guess the best looking room? Because they're at the Body Manor the entire time. So what is your favorite of the rooms?
Hallway.
The grand hall.
Hallway's got, the entry. It's got the entrances of everybody. It's got the chandeliers that fall, and it's got the floor pattern, which may or may not be designed to look like the Clue board game.
Depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
Now,
hallway.
Hallway's great. It's hard to really battle that one. But I'm going to go with the study.
A lot happens in the study.
A lot happens in the study. We get a lot of great character moments in the study. It looks cool. It looks like I'd want a study to look if I had a study. And maybe that's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy because my only thoughts on studies are from this movie. My earliest exposure to a study was from this movie. So I think it shaped my whole idea of what a study could be. And I haven't studied other studies.
No.
So this is
and would you study in a study?
I don't know really what you study in a study.
But I do like that they have a bookcase that is the door.
Right.
As every fancy mansion should have. Because that's kind of like a secret passage. It's not a secret passage. It's just a cool door.
Just a cool door. Cool door.
That Colonel Mustard just couldn't figure out.
Just couldn't crack that case. So I'm gonna go with the study. You're going with the hall.
The hall, which is not necessarily a room, but it is in the game, so I guess it counts.
It is in the game. The Great Shot Gordo Award for Most Cinematic Shot.
Where does that come from?
I actually don't know what Great Shot Gordo is. But I'm going to Google it real quick. The Great Shot Gordo Award. But while I'm
Is it a literal shot, like from a gun?
So, there's actually a Reddit thread about what this means. So Gordo Willis is the cinematographer from the Godfather trilogy.
Oh.
So there you go.
So it's a cinematic shot, not a actual. See, I'm in clue mode, so I'm thinking, oh well, it's got to be when they shoot Mr. Body but miss. But if it's cinematic, what's a great shot?
I think when they're approaching when I say they, let me pronouns pal. When Professor Plum and Miss Scarlet are driving up to the Body Manor, the Hill House, and they're at the gate, and there's the "It's Frightened" dialogue. Seeing just that kind of shot of the old school '50s car in front of this ornate gate with the matte painting, but with the house kind of in the background while they're in the foreground. That's what I'm going with.
Okay. I will go with the shot from the top of the stairs of the attic looking down at Yvette and Mr. Green because it's a shot that sparks a laugh. And it cuts to it several times and it shows just them standing at the bottom, not wanting to go up in front of each other because they're scared. Again, it's kind of like yours. They're frightened. It's a fear theme, but I think it's good. It's a very simple shot, but it's framed in a way that it gets a laugh, and that's not easy to do. Just a static shot. They're not moving, they're not talking, but it's just framed in such a way that it's very funny. So I'll go stairs.
Trying to think of if there's any other shots.
There's lots of just long shots, which are nice. The long takes where the actors get to just do their thing. There's not a lot of coverage in some of these scenes, so that's nice as well when they do long takes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Is there anything?
And the singing telegram looks great in the singing telegram girl looks great in the framed in the door with darkness all around her. Oh, and then the shots of the close-ups of their faces when the doorbell rings for the singing telegram girl, and everybody gets their close-up in shadows. Ooh, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
I'll go with that now too. I would go for that for drama, stairs for comedy.
Yeah. Let's go to the next one here, which is the Vincent Chase Award. Are we sure this character is really good at their job? Of course, reference to Entourage.
And I mean, not as an actor. I mean, as a cop.
As a cop, it's Bill.
He's a terrible cop.
He's just really
Vincent Chase is. So the theory is that Entourage Vincent Chase is not a good actor.
I think it's like, is he really good at being an actor? Because he turns down all these good roles. Like, he doesn't want to do Aquaman 2. He makes these choices to make these weird indie films instead of like the big Hollywood box office pictures.
And I agree. I don't think he was even that good in the scenes that we saw him do. That show's not for Vinny Chase. Vinny Chase could be anybody.
I mean, look, when you see, I think Adrien Grenier is his name. He's obviously a very handsome man. He could be a lead actor-ish. If he put on about 15 more pounds of muscle, you'd believe him in a lot of roles.
But where'd he go?
I don't know. It's a great thing. He was Vincent
Chase.
Chase. That was his Apex Mountain.
Apex. Yeah.
The Big Kahuna Burger Award for best use of food and drink. It's got to be the monkey brain soup, right?
Monkey brains or I guess when they're slurping the soup is pretty good.
Can you think of a better use of food and drink?
That's the shark fin soup.
Shark fin soup, yeah.
Is that. And then when Mrs. Peacock is devouring the monkey brains, that I saw, Clue on the big screen a couple weeks ago at the Alamo Draft House. And the way she's digging into that monkey's brains, people that didn't even know what it was were laughing at that. But I will also say the drink that Colonel Mustard pours for everybody, and he just pours it, like doesn't lift up the decanter, he just pours it into all the glasses, is a pretty good use of drink. And then, of course, Mrs. Peacock, maybe she was poisoned by a drink. There's a lot of food going on in this movie. May I interest any of you in fruit or dessert?
Fruit and dessert, yeah. I don't think you're beating the shark fin soup and the monkey brain. That's the best use.
Good slurping. Big kahuna.
The Butch's Girlfriend Award for weakest link in the film.
Is that Pulp Fiction reference?
That's Pulp Fiction reference for Bruce Willis's character. I don't find her to be a weak link, honestly.
No, I don't either. Weakest link in Clue?
So who doesn't bring it? in Clue. I mean, that's
I don't
a
know.
who's the weakest link?
That's
Mm.
the dogs are even good.
I know everyone's pretty good in the movie.
I don't have
We
an answer for that one. That's not being political. It's just I can't
no,
think of anybody
I'm
that
trying to
goes,
think
boy,
of
this would be better if that person wasn't there.
well, like to me when I think weakest link, I think either one, the character's unnecessary, or two, they don't act well in the film. Um, and I can't really pinpoint that.
I mean, an easy, cheap answer is the
The
cook, but
cook,
that's
yeah.
just because she doesn't have a lot to do.
Right.
And she only has one line of dialogue.
I guess we go with
Dinner will
that.
be ready at 7:30. Did we believe it? I believe that dinner was ready at 7:30, so I bought it. She nailed it.
Yeah,
A little
if we
stiff.
have to give it to somebody, I think we give it to Mrs. Hope. Or, the cop is a pretty bad cop.
He's a weak link as far as being
The
a cop.
story
Yeah,
goes,
when he checks out the car and goes underneath it in the rain. Odd.
Let's go to the Ron Burgundy Flute Award for the best time to take a pee break. I think this is actually an obvious answer. I think this is ending B.
Oh, it's a late P, but yeah. Okay.
Like if I'm checking out for if I'm checking out for anything in Clue, it's the second ending.
Yeah, there's a clip of Michael. It was not. I didn't include it in the Whodunit documentary, but there's a clip of Michael McKean's interview, an outtake that I think it's up on the It Looks So Fake YouTube channel, where Michael McKean on the set of Clue was having a conversation with director Jonathan Lynn, and there was, I guess, some plot point that was only said once in the movie that Michael McKean thought might need to be said more than once so the audience would get it. Because he said, "What if they go right now to go to the bathroom?" And they missed that. And Jonathan Lynn's answer to that was, well, they can't. They can't go to the bathroom.
Right.
So I guess there's no moment,
actual
according
time
to
for
the
people.
director. But yeah, I guess so. You don't miss anything if you don't. Well, you miss like Mrs. Peacock was a man and that. But it's if you got to go, I guess that.
If you have, I'm saying like I'm not saying I'm gonna skip out on it, but if there is one time to where I'm gonna like check my phone.
Yeah. But yeah, once the movie gets going, there's really
There's not a time to do it.
Yeah.
There's no like, what is this scene about?
Maybe when they're pretending to make out with the dead bodies, I mean, it's funny.
Yeah.
But as far as the plot goes, they're just making Officer Bill look dumb again.
Dumber.
Yeah, poor Bill.
Is there a better title for this movie? Well, no.
No, it's Clue.
There is no better title. I mean, yeah, it's just no better.
Ooh, can you ask Juniper?
Oh, yeah. We can
Our AI co-host, if she were to come up with 5 more titles for Clue the movie.
Let's see what we got. Here we go.
Hey,
Juniper, welcome back to Clue Movie Podcast. We want you to come up with 5 alternate titles for Clue the movie. We give her the hard stuff. We really do.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's good to be back at Clue Movie Podcast. Here are 5 alternate titles for Clue the movie. 1, Mystery Mansion. 2, Deadly Secrets. 3, The Final Clue. 4, Murder by Invitation. Whodunit at Hill House. What do you think? Any of these stand out as the perfect alternative?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Murder by Invitation is pretty good.
And if this were a trilogy, The Final Clue is a pretty good title.
The Final Clue is
so good. Clues, as we have established earlier, is part 2, and then The Final Clue is part 3.
Clues, The Final Clue. But Murder by Invitation is actually kind of a cool name in general.
It sounds like an episode of Murder, She Wrote or Columbo.
Yes,
like
but
you
it's
would see that pop up as it starts.
But like honestly, if
with
you
guest
saw
star Leslie Nielsen,
if you saw like you're in a Barnes and Noble, and you're like, I want to find a murder mystery book, and you're looking at them, and then you see Murder by Invitation. Why can I say that? Invitation. Murder by Invitation. Do you not go, what's that?
Ooh, yeah. I wonder what they're getting invited to.
Yeah, how are they murdered? Why are they being invited to a murder?
Why would you be invited to your murder? Why would you RSVP yes?
All right, the next one, the Stephen A. Smith Hottest Take Award. Do you have a hot take on this movie that people typically don't agree with you on, but it's your hot take?
Well, let me tell you. I do know who Stephen Smith is only because he's on the Howard Stern show a lot. I'm sorry, I'm not a big sports guy. But a hot take on Clue.
Only if you have one. If you don't have a hot take. It
sucks. I hate Clue. I think it's a terrible movie. I'm going to admit it now. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't think I have a hot take. I don't think I've said anything or thought anything super controversial that a fan would say, how dare you?
Well, I have a hot take. Maybe. Clue is the best murder mystery movie where the murder doesn't make any sense. Like where the plot is nonsensical. You cannot follow it. You cannot solve it. It's erroneous and ridiculous, but it's still the best murder mystery movie.
I agree. And for that reason, I don't think it's a hot take. I think most people, if they really think about it, maybe the hot take is that, especially the last two endings make no sense.
Right.
And that the Scarlet ending is the only one that does. But anyone that you've said that to will go, yeah, you're right, if they think about it. So maybe.
All right. This one, I think, is kind of hard because I don't think there's an answer for this one. The Teddy KGB Award for the actor in a completely different movie.
What is Teddy KGB? Where does that come from?
I don't know that one either. I'm about to look it up.
Okay.
But what do you think? An actor in a completely different movie?
Yeah, I mean, the first person that came to mind, I guess, is Lee Ving, because he's the one actor that's not a comedian. He's a musician. He's from a punk band. So it's odd that he's just an odd choice for casting. That being said, I think he's great in the movie. And I think that it works for the movie that he's different than everybody else.
Oh, okay. Teddy KGB is a reference, by the way, to Rounders, the Russian poker player in Rounders.
Oh,
like he's
I have not seen Rounders.
I haven't seen Rounders.
Damon?
It's Matt Damon, yeah. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So that's who I think of, but because Jane Whelan plays the singing Telegram Girl, but that makes sense. She's from the Go-Go's, but she's singing. So that makes sense. Lee Ving is just an odd choice because he's not necessarily known or wasn't known as an actor, although this was not his first movie.
But is there a character that you feel like they're over, like it just, like for instance, I don't know if you saw the 18 Power Rangers movie? Theatrical.
That'll be it. That'll be on the next podcast.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Well, like Elizabeth Banks plays Rita Repulsa, and it's not that she does a bad job as Rita Repulsa, but she's just in a completely different movie than everybody else. They're trying to ground it, make it a little bit more realistic, and she is like over the top.
But she knew. It's kind of like, is it Gina Gershon in Showgirls, that she was aware that this is ridiculous and I'm going to play it as such?
Yes.
See, this is where you and I are different. Your go-to was Power Rangers, and mine was Showgirls. If you ever want to know what separates Brad and Jeff movie-wise, there you go.
Well, here we go. We have a few more Hall of Fame plaque. Who out of this movie, who's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame? I think that this is an easy answer too.
I think it's the same answer as the next category, which is just one Oscar.
Yep.
It's Tim Curry.
It's Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry gets the Oscar. Tim Curry goes in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, you really can't compete with either one of those.
Everybody's great, but come on. Even they all admit that they couldn't do what Tim Curry did, and nobody could. And that's why when Zach Krager does his little new Clue movie, don't try to have a Tim Curry type. There isn't one, I think, right now, actually. I don't think we have a Tim Curry type.
There's probably not a Tim Curry type. And don't call the movie New Clues. Let's just not do that. All right, best double feature with this movie.
Ooh. Knives Out, maybe?
Knives Out's a good one. Knives Out's a good one.
I like to watch it with Murder by Death, because Murder by Death also has Eileen Brennan, and it's a murder mystery comedy. One that, if we did some of these awards, when we said, what has not aged well, has a few easier answers. The entire Peter Sellers character comes to mind. But yeah, I would go with Knives Out, or I think people probably like also that like this like Rocky Horror Picture Show. So that's I think those sometimes are teamed up.
For me, obviously, I've referred a lot to the '85 trilogy, and so for me, I'd pair this one with Fletch, just because that's what I think of when I think of Clue, Fletch, and Back to the Future. I mean, any of those, and because there's characters in each of those that intersect with one another. So
it's true.
But like if I'm trying to think of like a more modern movie that maybe you could pair up with this one, oh man, that is hard. Knives Out's a good one. Knives Out's probably the winner.
Would you do another whodunit kind of movie? Would you do like
Radioland Murders?
Yeah, Radioland Murders, and that does have some overlap. That has Michael McKean and Christopher Lloyd, and it's a silly kind of whodunit comedy that's got a big cast. You could do Scream if you wanted to, have a whodunit that's kind of funny.
You could.
You could. You wouldn't, but you could.
Yeah. I mean, I think my pick's Radioland Murders. Actually, I'm gonna go Radioland Murders. Okay. That's my double feature. Best racehorse name for this movie. Okay, give it to me. Monkey Brains is a good one.
Ooh, and you live in racehorse name territory.
I do. All the streets in my neighborhood are named after racehorse, and we actually have a monkey fist. So there's a monkey thing.
Monkey's. Oh, did we? I think we talked about this then when we were in Houston. I think we did come up with horse race names.
Do you remember any of them?
Yeah, I think Monkey's Brains was probably our number one.
Cantonese Cuisine. That's a great
Flames
one.
The Side of My Face.
Yeah, Flames.
Would be good.
You Know Who?
You and Me Honey Bunch for the,
You and Me Honey Bunch is good.
Yeah, You and Me Honey Bunch coming up with Flames on the Side of My Face.
Yeah.
And Monkey's Brains.
I like that one. I like
Communism as a Red Herring.
Red Herring is good. I don't know if J. Edgar Hoover counts, but that's kind of funny.
Mrs. Peacock was a man. Mrs. Peacock was a man with 1 + 2 + 2 + 1 and determined to enjoy myself.
Is I Am Your Singing Telegram too long?
No. That's the thing about horse names. They can go on forever. You could do the entire Mrs. Peacock introduction speech.
I'm trying to think. There's got to be something we're missing.
Next with Every Inch of My Body.
Every Inch of My Body. Sleep with My Wife. Can we do that one?
I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife. Coming in last.
Well, and obviously Miss Scarlet, Professor Plum, Miss White, like all the character names are great.
That's true. Those are pretty.
Is there one we're missing?
Comment below.
Is there a good racehorse? There's got to be a great racehorse name we're missing. Oh man, Who Did I Kill? Who Did I Kill is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of any other ones, but I really like.
And the winner, let us in, let us in, let us out, let us out.
Oh, that's good too, though. And then you could do the revolver, the candlestick.
All the weapons, sure.
The weapons are good. Nobody's called them. The police are coming.
Oui, oui, madame.
Oui, oui, madame. The police are coming. Nobody's called them.
There's safety in numbers.
Turn Out Your Pockets.
Ooh.
Right? Okay. So
and frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Right. Quite frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn. Okay.
Yeah.
What piece of memorabilia would you want from this movie?
Oh, I do have memorabilia from this movie.
I mean, to me, it'd be the candlestick.
Yeah. Well, which is why I won't tell people what streets I live on, but I do own 2 of the matte paintings from the movie. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, the weapons would be nice. A letter would be nice. Any of the props would be super cool.
I don't want to sound like a creep, but like some of the costumes, like I'd want Professor Plum's costume, Miss Scarlet's costume,
Mrs. Peacock's hat.
Miss Peacock's hat.
It'd be
Eileen
pretty
Brennan's
cool.
cape, or not Eileen Brennan's cape. I'm sorry, Mrs. White's cape. Madeline Kahn. The little thing that goes on top of Yvette's head. What is that called?
That's what you want from Yvette's costume? You're doing so well in avoiding it without, so like you've named every other character, the cops,
The cop.
wet jacket.
Actually, though, legitimately, the singing telegram girl outfit or her hat.
The
would be
whole
probably
outfit. Yeah.
the hat would probably be the best thing you could own. The Andy and Red Award, and I can't even pronounce the next thing. Zihoratanejo Award for What Happens the Next Day.
Oh.
What happens the next day?
So what happens after this? Depends on the ending. There are 3 next days after this. But I think, as we've discussed before, I think they all go to jail. And it's just a matter of how long they're going to be gone. And then it can become like the Seinfeld finale. Yeah, you thought we weren't going to mention Seinfeld. Where, they're in jail for a year and then they'll be back.
It's a reference to.
And then they'll just go right back.
It's a reference to Shawshank Redemption. Okay.
Did you think when you saw the Seinfeld finale?
Yes.
After the fact, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
But I didn't know anything about it.
Okay. So I remember watching it, when it happened, and when he says the line, we'll be, in a year we'll be back. I thought, is there a chance they'll do in 1 year a reunion where they all get out and they've joked about it. I think I've seen them in interviews where they said, what would the line be that George says when they get out? Like they walk into either the coffee shop or the apartment, and he says,
that was brutal.
That was brutal. Yeah, that's what I want the Clue finale to be.
Yeah, but you saw the Curb finale.
Yes, that was a nice revisionist history.
Loved it.
But boy, Larry David, he likes that finale. He's like, we're doing it again.
We're gonna do it again. But that, think about the balls on that man. You know what I mean?
Whatever he wants.
Like the balls to be like, you hated the Seinfeld finale, so guess what I'm gonna do with the Curb finale? The exact same thing.
Same idea. Court, recurring characters.
Same thing.
Yep.
Kind of brilliant, to be honest with you. Brilliant.
Different ending.
Different ending, but kind of brilliant.
Thank goodness, because I thought, they are really doing it all again.
I did have a fear of impending doom for a moment. Like, oh man, are we gonna do the whole thing? And we're gonna have
right?
But it worked.
Because he would. He would. That's how I felt when I was watching Toy Story 3 at the theater, and they're all like going in the incinerator. I thought Pixar would kill them.
Oh, dude.
They would kill the toys, and then it would be like, hey, that's what happens to toys.
So tough.
Deal with it. I thought they're going to kill him.
The coach.
Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3 is like a tearjerker. I've never seen Toy Story 4. Man. I kind of refuse to.
Oh, you're like Quentin Tarantino. That's what he said, too.
I agree with him. The Coach Finstock Award for Best Life Lesson. Is there a life lesson in this movie?
Do you know who Coach Finstock is?
No.
Oh, he is the coach from Teen Wolf.
Oh, right.
The basketball coach.
Yes, of course.
I do know. So he's giving advice to Michael J.
That's right.
And it's like terrible advice. It's like, don't, I wish I could remember. Boy, I feel bad. But
don't crap where you eat.
Something like that. Yeah, don't date a woman that's named after a city.
Something like that.
Yeah, I forget. But Teen Wolf was excellent. Advice in the movie, we all make mistakes.
We all make mistakes.
Wadsworth. Well, we all make mistakes.
That is a pretty good life lesson. I don't think that there's a better one than that. We all make mistakes. And then finally, our final category on the penultimate episode of Clue Movie Podcast, the Slow Ride / Kid Cudi Pursuit of Happiness Award for Best Needle Drop Moment. So best use of a song in the film.
There's only 3.
Okay, so what do we got?
Well, there's 2 that are literal needle. Well, there's 1 that's a literal needle. No, there's 2 that are literal needle drops because Vet is listening to Shake, Rattle, and Roll at the beginning, which is also our in-credit song that we just heard. Shaboom is the song when they're fooling poor Bill. And then the song I will give it to, even though we don't get to hear anything beyond the first line, is I am your singing telegram.
That is the best needle drop. If I'm going to go with an actual song, I'm going with Shake, Rattle, and Roll because it kind of opens and bookends us.
It's the bookend, and people wonder, why is it Shake, Rattle, and Roll? And my theory is it's the roll of the dice of the game. I don't know if that's true. I guess we could ask Jonathan Lynn, but you won't remember.
Shake, rattle, and roll. Oh, it's like a roll of the dice, yeah.
And it's also time appropriate, but
it is time appropriate.
That was my assumption, that why would this song of every song in the world be? And thank goodness they didn't go 80s and have like
it don't take money, don't need fame.
Fletch is coming out. You know. Yeah. They didn't do although on the soundtrack that came out from La La Land, there is a version of the Clue theme that is kind of synthy. Really? And it makes me wonder if it was recorded to be the end credits and have it be like the 80s, like
it got Faltermired.
It's not full Faltermired, but it's
there.
It's synthy.
It's synthy. Well, there you go. Those are our categories.
It was 85.
Do you feel like we've left anything out, like on the table from this movie? Because we're 96 minutes into it. We're 2 years into this.
What could be left on the table? I'm sure there's plenty that's been left on the table, which is good because someone could pick up after this and say, you know what, I listened to that, and here's I'm going to do it minute by minute as well.
If somebody does that, which you have our full permission to do.
Go for it.
You just have to call it Clues. The movie podcast.
Clues, yeah.
That's my only
title. Yeah.
It's Clues.
Well, hopefully before the 7th, if there's anything that I've forgotten, I will bring it up on our live finale.
Live finale, October the 7th. Stay tuned to our socials.
To jail at the end.
Stay tuned to our socials on October the 7th, and that is going to be on at 4 p.m. Central,
5 p.m. Eastern,
5 Eastern,
4 p.m.
Pacific,
Central, 2 p.m. Pacific, and wherever else.
Why don't they ever? Why don't they ever mention Mountain Time?
They used to, but they would say Central and Mountain, and the Mountain just kind of used to have to deal with Central Time. They had to pick.
Right. Because sometimes
like an 8 o'clock show would be on at 7.
Well, because isn't like I know Arizona. What time zone is Arizona?
That's 1 hour ahead of Pacific. So
that's Mountain. But sometimes they don't acknowledge daylight savings, right?
Arizona, they do not acknowledge daylight savings.
So sometimes they're Central, sometimes they're Mountain.
It's got to be rough. Now it's no big deal. But back in the day where you had appointment television, how'd you know? Like, you'd be ready to watch the Seinfeld finale, and it was an hour over.
And you missed it.
Yeah, you're like, why are they in court? John Panette, never saw him fall out of a car.
Yeah, exactly. Very strange. Well, look, that's our penultimate episode of Clue Movie Podcast. We will be back next week with our ultimate episode, the live finale.
Wow.
And we wrap this thing up and we say, how you doing? See you later. And it's on to pick 6 and other things.
Yeah. There's already, I think, some subscribers to the new
I hope
podcast.
So. You can go subscribe to it right now.
Nothing there, but you can be ready. And then you'll be like, and whenever it comes out, you'll pop up on your phone. You'll be like, oh, yeah.
Gonna do it.
Done with those guys.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're Jeff. It's been a pleasure. The penultimate episode. ClueDoc.com. BradGilmore.com. This has been
all the socials.
Clue the Movie Podcast, episode 96, or minute 96. And we'll be back next week with our live